I have been able to take control of my cravings for salt and sugar using these tips that I'm about to share with you right now. What's up, y'all? I'm Elena and welcome back to the Adulting Kitchen. If you don't quite feel like an adult, but you're still having to adult anyway and try to eat well at the same time without losing your whole mind, then I am right here along with you. The Adulting Kitchen is about helping you create a healthy eating lifestyle, so do consider subscribing so we can grow in the kitchen together. So I've shared a few videos here about some general things that you can do to beat salt and sugar cravings, and if you've not seen those videos, I will put a link to them in the description. But to add on to those, I felt like it would be helpful for me to go into a little bit more depth about what it is that I've been doing the past few years that has completely transformed my eating habits and that has helped me to nip my cravings in the bud. So the first thing that I've been doing is drinking water. I drink anywhere from like 64 ounces of water to 100 ounces of water a day, if not more than that. I keep this bottle with me, and I like this one because it had like the 64 ounce marker on here, so I can kind of gauge it, but it's not like I fill it all the way up to 64, then drink it down, then fill it back up to 64. Like, I'll just fill it up to 64 like one time, and then other times I'm just adding. So Harvard Health suggests that you have like 4 to 6 cups of water a day, you know, for the average person. But honestly, it just really comes down to you listening to you, know, your personal health, your thirst levels. But to understand your thirst levels, you're really going to have to understand how your body communicates thirst to you. But that is another topic for another day. So how is it that I'm able to drink this much water in a day? Well, the first thing is I drink it first thing in the morning. I wake up, I don't know about y'all, I wake up parched, like mouth be dry. So I chug a whole bunch of water in the morning. Whatever's here, I get some. I get a glass and I just drink some. I don't know how much it is. The next thing that I do is I have it with all of my meals. You typically won't find me drinking a juice. I enjoy a glass of wine and stuff here and there with a meal. But for the most part, I'm drinking water. Sometimes I'll have like flavored waters at my meal times, but for the most part, I'm drinking regular water. And then I sip on it throughout the day. Clearly, it's about 6:30 right now, so I've drunk it all the way down. It was full this morning, so I'll just have little sips. Now I have one now, actually, because I'm thirsty. I'm pretty in tune with knowing when my body is thirsty now, so I can more easily identify when it is that I need to take a sip of water or not. The second thing I do is try to get enough sleep. Hard, okay? Difficult. Between like all of my responsibilities, like I can get caught up with doing stuff late at night, especially since I'm like a night owl. Like, I like to be up at night. So a couple of things that I try to do to make sure that I get enough sleep is to plan my day. And I do this on a digital calendar. And it's been working for me for the past few months now. And I do this because it kind of relieves the stress of, oh, well, am I going to have time to do this? Or when am I going to do this? Blah, blah, blah. I already know because I took time to put it on the calendar of when I was going to be able, you know, roughly when I'll be able to do certain tasks or whatever. And I span it out throughout the week so that I'm just able to relieve my mind of the mental stressors that'll like come up when I'm trying to rest. And I also plan my sleep on there. Like, I'd be like, I give myself a bedtime. Like, you need to go to bed at this time. Obviously, as I've stated before, it doesn't always work, but I try my best to adhere to the bedtime. I also have an alarm on my phone that'll go off when it's time for me to go to bed, so I know. So I'm literally being blatantly disrespectful to my own self when I actually ignore this stuff, but these are the systems that I have in place. The third thing that I do, swear by it, meal planning. Okay, swear by meal planning. Meal planning is probably the best thing that has ever happened to me. So I'll literally sit down once a week and plan out what it is that I plan to eat for that following week. And this is a bit easier since I do try to take the time to plan out my week beforehand. Just, my general week, I'm able to know what it is that I've got coming up. If I've got appointments, if I've got stuff to do in the evening, I'm meeting with a friend or whatever, I already know what all this stuff is, so I can plan my meals around what's happening in my life. On my meal plans, it's mostly nutritious meals that I will make myself at home, but sometimes it will include me going out. Say I'm meeting a friend, or I know that I'm not gonna have enough time to go back to the grocery store on a particular day, so I'm gonna be out of stuff to cook, or whatever the case may be. I try to allot for that on my meal plan, just so I'm not going into the day blind, like I know what it is that I'm gonna have. I also make sure to try to have a filling breakfast on the plan. So something that's gonna have an adequate amount of protein. It's got a good amount of fruits or veggies in there, and just a lot of variety so that I can really, get my day jump started in the right way, and avoid those cravings that might come up throughout the day. Make these meal plans. It'll take me maybe an hour or so, partially because I like to browse for recipes that I maybe have not tried yet. I like to have a lot of variety, so sometimes I spend a good amount of time looking at recipes and stuff. If I hadn't spent all my good old time doing this, I am less likely to deviate from the plan, especially for less healthier options. So another thing that I have done to keep my cravings in check is regulate my snacks. So by regulating my snacks, for me that means keeping the foods that I have access to for snacks to a minimum. So I'm honestly not buying a whole bunch of snacks at one time. I can find myself gravitating towards those snacks in vulnerable moments, like when I'm tired. So I try to keep them out of the house if possible. Now, sometimes I do include snacks in my meal plan if I'm going to be out for a long period of time, or when I'm going to eat at a certain point in the day is kind of questionable. I'll make sure that I pack a healthy snack with me, but I try to include that in my meal plan so that I'm not really caught off guard, and I'm not like mindlessly snacking. It was an intentional snack. Now I will share with you what has gotten me in trouble recently is stuff that I did not intend to be a snack food that has turned into a snack food. Like last week I made some muffins with walnuts and chocolate chips, and now those walnuts and chocolate chips are like, hey girl, what's up? And I'm like, see, you are an ingredient. You are not a snack. So yeah, that has been a struggle, but I try to keep them in the back of the cabinet. And it's really taken a lot of mental energy as well. But I'll talk about that in a second. And then I also make sure to portion the snack out, even when it is like time for me to have the snack, not physically pouring the snack from the bag, because sometimes I be pouring too much. I do have a food scale. I utilize that just to make sure I'm adhering to the serving sizes, or the serving size that I would like. I'm portioning that out into whatever container so that I'm not eating more than I intended just because it tasted good or something. For those that don't know, I shop for Shipt part-time as well as Instacart. So when I'm out doing that, sometimes I'll need a snack if I'm not able to get home for a meal. I'm trying to finish up an order so that I can go home, and I need something to tide me over. I will carry a snack in those instances just so I avoid extreme hunger. One of the simplest things that I do for these cravings is to just do something else. For me, this is typically an outdoor activity. I love being outside. I like looking at trees, the sky. If I'm like trying to alleviate a craving or something like that, I'll usually just, walk down the street, go to the park or something like that, something quick. just to take my mind off whatever that is, because cravings will usually pass within like 15 to 20 minutes. Engaging in an activity like this allows me to just think about something else. Think about getting my body moving, thinking about my overall health, and all of those things. Your thing might be cleaning up. Maybe that's what you do when you're having a craving. You'll think, oh, well, when I'm having a craving, I'll tidy up a room. Or maybe it's reading a chapter of a book. Could be checking in with a friend. Whatever it is. It's just important to find something that's not food related to take your mind off that food. Another thing that I will do is think it out. I will try to think the craving away. And basically what I mean by that is engaging in mindful eating. So Harvard Health describes mindfulness as focusing on the present moment while calmly acknowledging and accepting your feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations. So when you apply this to eating, it really just means bringing awareness to your eating habits. So let's touch on what that looks like a little bit with my cravings. As I mentioned in my previous videos, I love sweets. If I'm having a craving for anything, it's probably for something sweet. So in moments like this, I try to challenge the craving. And by that, I mean, I'm asking myself questions like, am I thirsty? Am I hungry? Like, how am I feeling right now? Are the feelings that I'm experiencing driving this craving, or is it just a genuine desire for whatever the item is? I basically put it in the hot seat and I'm like, yo, why are you here? Because I really want to understand if this is legit or if there's something else going on that I need to address. And I'm able to pinpoint these moments because I've identified my triggers. When I'm working on a stressful project for school or something like that, I'm like, can I have a piece of candy? Can I get a cookie or something like that? And I'm like, trigger. No. Another scenario would be if I'm at a social function and I see some really pretty desserts and I'm like, mouth watering, and I just really, really want to have it. I could have already ate, all right? I could be full, but all of a sudden, I'm wanting something. It's really just because it was attractive. I thought it was cute. It was well put together. It's not because I'm hungry. It's just because I saw it and it's there and I got access to it easily. Another trigger for me is at work in the break room. They'll have like a little cup of candy, of little goodies and stuff like that I'd be like, And I go back to work, thinking about that. Go to my desk, thinking about it. And I'm like, am I really craving it? No, it's just because I saw it there. And now I'm like, I can have it. I want it. I had to turn down a Hershey's Kisses today. I really wanted it, but I said no. Sometimes it gets hard to say no in these scenarios and things like that. But I'm thinking about you guys, all right? I'm thinking about my personal health. I'm thinking about my family, my future family. I'm thinking about all of those that I'm really called to help in these situations. And I'm like, well, I can't do that. I can't do it for me. I can't do it for the people that are following me, that are looking to me for information, that are wanting me to be around for a long time. I'm going to say no. And I know, it's just a Hershey Kiss. It's just one. Sometimes it's cool to say yeah, but it's not cool to say yeah every time. So I have to remind myself of that. So another thing I try to do to curb my cravings or avoid them altogether is to manage stress and anxiety. This one is a doozy, right? I mean, adulting is so hard. You're juggling all these responsibilities that you probably haven't had, like you're experiencing them for the first time. It can be stressful at times. Worrying if you're gonna be able to get stuff done, get stuff paid for, have enough for this. You're really unsure of where your life is gonna go. So much, right? I've been there. Sometimes I am there. Really, if I'm honest, this is where I'm at right now. So I really understand if this is you. Growing up, I would find myself gravitating towards snacks for comfort, among other different things, but snacks was definitely one of those things. And I recognize this in my adult life as I've been more self-aware and stuff like that, that this has been a pattern that I've brought on through childhood. So it's a few things that I've tried to do that have helped me to manage stress. One of these things is trying to talk it out with someone I trust. Maybe that's a parent, it might be a friend, maybe it's myself. Maybe it's a journal. Maybe I try to write it out. But I'm really allowing myself the opportunity to think out whatever it is that I might be struggling with that is causing me to want to gravitate toward a snack. As I mentioned earlier, I like to do physical activities because it really gets me out of my head. So another thing that I do is I pray. You know, I meditate, I worship. I talk to God about whatever it is that I got going on. Usually meditation looks like for me meditating on a scripture that I pulled out. I'll read sometimes, or just kind of sit in the quiet, think about what it is that I've been thinking about, listen to God, listening to the sounds around me, just really coming into the present moment. Really helps. I'll turn on some worship music. I like to sing, so I'll sing along to my favorite worship songs, or just sit there and just listen and really take in the words, and that is really something that brings peace to me. But all this is really a work in progress. Like, I still struggle with this, so I just really want to share because you might be struggling too, and I just want you to know that it's not just you. We're building a community here with the Adulting Kitchen that will just be able to support you, especially with us young adults. Like, I feel like this is something that maybe gets swept under a rug or that we just don't talk about too often, but the amount of stress and anxiety that we feel can sometimes be overwhelming, and we look to food for that at times. Since this is a big struggle for a lot of people our age, I'll be bringing a counselor on who is knowledgeable in this area. She counsels people that have dealt with similar issues, and I just kind of want to bring her on to get some more professional insight into emotional eating and what it is that, you know, we can do as young adults that will help us to navigate through that space. The last thing that I do that has helped me to avoid my cravings is to actually enjoy a small portion of whatever the thing is that I'm craving. I know I just gave you all of these avoidance tips and all this other stuff. Oh, go take a walk. Oh, call a friend and all this. Yeah, I know. But like I mentioned earlier, I'll put a limit on my consumption sometimes. Like, I'm not going to have 6 cookies. If I'm craving a cookie, I'll just have 1. And I really don't believe in restricting any foods. Like, folk cutting out complete food groups and stuff like that, that's not something I do over here. It just don't work for me. So this is why I still eat things that I really like cookies, like french fries, stuff like that. I don't believe in restricting foods, but I do believe in discipline and self-control, which is really the name of the game in beating these cravings. Having self-control for me looks like monitoring my portions. It looks like telling myself no in certain situations. It looks like moderating when I can actually indulge. Like I said, like I mentioned earlier, it's certain situations where I'm vulnerable, where I am more prone to caving into a craving. Usually not to entertain my cravings in those situations, and doing so in moments where I am more mindful, just more aware of what's going on with my body and stuff like that, would be a time where I'm like, okay, well, I have a cookie because I'm in a good mental space, I'm in a good physical space, and all of that, to really go into that without it being mindless and it being thoughtless. I'm in a completely different outfit. Don't really know what happened to my last clip, so I'm redoing it. So just to kind of sum everything up, all of this is going to require some intentionality. Like, if you're having persistent cravings, they're not going to go away by magic. It's going to require some strategy. It's going to require some planning if you want to avoid these things or eliminate them long term. And the Adulting Kitchen wants to be with you every step of the way. So I'm going to keep making stuff like this. We're going to keep having these conversations. so that we can help you grow. And that is all for this video. I am so grateful that you chose to hang out with me today, and I really hope that something that I shared will help you along your health journey and help you to kick those cravings out of your whole life. All right, if you want to connect, you can do so over on Instagram at The Adulting Kitchen. And if you like this video, please leave me a thumbs up, and in the comments you can let me know which of these areas was one of your strongest points, or maybe which one is something that you feel like you need to work on. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.